Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mikestand. We're, of course, going to give people a chance to come in here in a few minutes here. So I hope everybody's having as we've reached hump day tonight. Um, I hope everybody has had a good week thus far. I'm going to go off camera here for a moment, but while we're waiting for more people to show up, but I will put some music on to entertain you. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So, anyways, as I said, we're just waiting for people to show up. So I hope everybody's having a good week thus far. Um, anyways, let's see when. Okay, so now we're just after the 2 minute mark here. Let's see. Um, Probably when we get to the 3 minute mark, I'll talk about what's on tap for tonight here. As I said, we're just waiting for people to show up. So hopefully, regardless, at about the 3 minute mark, I'll go ahead and go over what's on tap for tonight. It's a usual kind of flair of news articles, wrestling wrap up, and this day in each history. But we'll go a little more specific once we hit the 3 minute mark. And all right, so here's what's on tap for tonight. We got three articles we're going to go over. Two of them abounding in the comics, and one from Bleeding Fool. Of course, the first article we're going to talk about is it has been confirmed the second season release date for the latest Mobile Suit Gundam series in the franchise, The Witch from Mercury. The second season release date has been confirmed. We'll get into that. Legendary Comics is crowdfunding a graphic novel adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff and using his likeness. Also, we'll be after those two articles. We'll be heading over to Bleeding Fool to go over an article talking about African comic creators and how they, I guess, rely on the usage of their folklore in their comics. So, plus, of course, we got the wrestling round. We got the latest in WWE and AEW news, and of course, this day in each history. Let's see now. As always, of course, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here that we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Granted, I may not always be able to answer, but I will answer as much as I possibly can. So hopefully, we'll get a lot out of tonight. You'll find out some interesting things. And hopefully we can get some good conversations going. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get moving on the articles here. So without any further ado. Alrighty then. All right, so the first article we're looking at tonight: Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury officially confirms second season release date. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published yesterday. Is in the anime section. So the time for fans to finally come to terms with Suleta's murderous innocence um, is nearly here, as the premiere date for Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury's second season has officially been confirmed as being just over the horizon. So this is a pretty popular so anyways, we continue on here. As per series production studio Sunrise, the further adventures of the Vanadis Institute's latest troublemakers will begin airing in Japan on April 9th, which will be a Sunday. A date longtime Gundam fans may coincidentally recognize as the 24th anniversary of Tournay's original broadcast. Tournay was another part of the Gundam franchise. So according to the tweet here, it says Mobile Suit Gundam Witch of Mercury Season 2, starting April 9th, every Sunday at 5 p.m. That's Japan Standard Time, I believe. Started broadcasting on MBS TBS Network. TBS, that's not the Turner Broadcasting System, as you may think. It's the Tokyo Broadcasting System. Network of 28 nations nationwide, or 28 stations nationwide. In addition, at 5 o'clock on Sunday, April 2nd, for the week before, special number just before season 2 broadcast will be broadcast. Official site. Okay. Sunrise further revealed that a week before the second season's premiere, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury will air a quote, in smaller quotes, pre-broadcast special, on smaller quote, recapping everything from Suleta's first steps into the Aztecasia School of Technology to her shocking saving of Miorin's life that's occurred in the series thus far. So basically, what they're going to do is they're going to have kind of a recap. They're going to have a special recap show of everything that happened in season 1. Probably, what they would argue is to prepare you for what's about to happen. To get you caught up and prepare you for what's about to happen in season 2. The studio also dropped a new trailer for Suleta's return, therein giving fans a taste of what's to come, including new mobile suits, new allies, and even more hardships. Isn't that always the case with the Mobile Suit Gundam series? It's kind of a nice mix of things in the way they write it, right? Right? Let's see. Yeah. All right. So, additionally, in a statement shared to the series' official website, translated by Deepel, Sunrise confirmed that the events of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury's second season will take place 2 weeks after season 1's intense finale. Quote, 2 weeks after the Gundam's attack on planet Quetta, Suleta Mercury, who in Japanese is voiced by Kana Ichinose, who is known as the voice of Suzu Kanabe in Ayakashi Triangle, spends her days at the Aztecasia School of Technology, anticipating her long-awaited reunion with Miorin Rembrandt, unquote, teased the studio. Quote, meanwhile, Miorin, who is voiced in Japanese by Lynn. It's just one name for this particular actress, Lynn, of assassins and or Lynn assassins in Fate Strange, Fate Whispers of Dawn, name, has been stationed at the head office of the Benneret group so she can monitor her father's condition, unquote. And there's the letter right there. And if you guys remember, too, one of the things we were talking about from this series, one of the big issues that came up was from, I think, some of the English voice actors saying, well, she looked Middle Eastern to us, therefore a Middle Eastern actress should, Middle Eastern act, we got into all that, about a month ago where there's a big hoopla made about whether who should actually be portraying her and all that, you know, for the sake of diversity, right? Um, as of writing, English language release plans for the series have yet to be confirmed, though they will ostensibly be handled by the same entity as the verse, Crunchyroll. Oh, there we go with that one. Huh. All right, so that's a pretty quick article. I'll get ready to hit our second article here pretty quick. Let's see if anybody said it, if anybody got any interesting comments here yet. I guess not. All right. So here's the second article we're going to hit up here. All right. So Legendary Comics crowdfunding graphic novel adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff and using the actor's likeness. They're going to be featuring Boris Karloff in this latest graphic novel adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Article by J.D. Augustine published yesterday. So here we go. Legendary Comics, the publishing arm of Legendary Pictures, is bringing to life a graphic novel adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. That, for the first time in print, uses the likeness of the man who originally brought Frankenstein's monster to the screen, Boris Karloff, for the creature. There is a catch, though. They need your help. The project is called Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff, and it's being funded by a Kickstarter campaign that sweetens the deal by placing the book in a quote unquote double bill with the 2020 Rondo Award winning work Bram Stoker's Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi. Like the former, the Dracula reimagining uses the image of Lugosi as the Count. So basically, what they did here with these two books is they took the two guys who are probably most famous for portraying them in film and focusing the graphic novels on focusing the graphic novels on their characterizations. So Karloff as Frankenstein's monster, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and then Bela Lugosi as the vampire count, Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula. The two come together in a one-time offer as an exclusive perk for backers, and this two-pack is a momentous occasion as it's the re-release of the Dracula graphic novel after a 3-year hiatus, made in conjunction with the Lugosi Estate Incorporation from Lugosi Enterprises LLC. The same shall be the case for Frankenstein starring Karloff. So this release here of these two comics right here, of these are not comics but graphic novels, should be a boon for horror fans, for those who are horror movies and horror comics. Something that horror fans might want to check out. This double feature, as it were, in comic book form, right? Mary Shelley's Frankenstein starring Boris Karloff, Bram Stoker's Dracula starring Bela Lugosi. Let's see. See what this has to say here. Let's see. All right. The actor's only daughter, Sarah Karloff, acts as an executive consultant, while Dracula artists and designers Carrie Gamil, Richard Starkings, and L. Gehring reunite to put Boris Karloff book posthumously into the role that made him famous. Quote, a quote faithful adaptation unquote. The graphic novel comes in at 120 pages, complemented by Dracula's 200 pages of terror. So you're getting 320 pages of terror right there, folks. For all you horror enthusiasts, you're getting 320 pages right there with that double feature. It'd be quite palpable for y'all. Legendary has already reached 98% of its $75,000 goal with almost 1,000 backers. And I guess here's some of the work there. Quote, Bram Stoker's Dracula, starring the likeness of Bela Lugosi, was so well received, the natural next step was to team with Sarah Karloff and the Karloff Enterprises to bring the all-new vision of the creature to life, featuring the iconic face of actor Boris Karloff. Unquote, said Robert Napton. Napton is the senior vice president of comics at Legendary and issued a statement that was picked up by Bloody Disgusting. I guess that's the name of a magazine or something like that. I guess they specialize in horror, I guess. That name, you'd have to think so. Interviewed for the Kickstarter campaign, Sarah Karloff adds, quote, my introduction to Legendary Comics was their fantastic work on the Dracula graphic novel. When they approached me to do one with my father as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, I thought it couldn't happen soon enough, unquote. The campaign began on March 1st, so 2 weeks ago today, and runs until the end of the month. It should have no problem reaching its financial goal, and a copy can be yours, but you better act fast. Backer reward tiers start at $20 for both stories, PDF format, and for $99 backers get physical copies in a coffin display box, plus PDFs and more. So here's another villagers chase creature. Okay. You plan on grabbing these graphic novels? All right, so there we go with that one. I think took a little longer to read, but well, we're still kind of running short here. Well, anyways, now let's go over to Bleeding Fool. See what we got there. I said we were going to do one article from there. At the rate we're going, we might end up doing more depending on how because at least as far as I know, um, as far as I know here, um, usually, at least from what I've found, is that these ones do take longer to read through. So let's see how we do here. African comic creators mine the country's rich histories and mythologies. Article by Avi Green published earlier today. Oh, here we go. The Financial Times ran a story about a creator in Ethiopia who's created some heroes set in the African thing that should be on the African continent, not in the African continent. But again, typos. Typos. Either it's a typo or it's a grammatical error. One of the two. Anyways, growing up reading the only available comic books in Addis Ababa at the turn of the century. Yes, in this case, when they're talking about turn of the century, they mean from the 20th to the 21st century. There's a time in most of our lifetimes when you talk about turn of the century, it meant going from the 19th to the 20th century. But now, of course, it's from the 20th to the 21st. Anyways, American superheroes. Besserat Dabibi asked himself a deep question. Quote, why have I never seen in my entire life of love for comics a story that had an Ethiopian protagonist hero or Ethiopian history included in it? All right, I'll have to check that out later. Let's see. Quote, I was only able to find Black Panther, which is based on a fictional country conglomerating 54 African countries into one. It's like combining all of Europe into one character and saying, quote, this is your history now, and you can get this one character, unquote, says the Ethiopian founder of E10 Comics. Quote, that was just absurd to me, shocking even, so that meant I had to create what was lacking, unquote. I actually applaud this guy. I honestly, granted, he may not have liked the fact that he had to create, but this is actually a good thing. This is actually a better thing than just complaining and trying to force, rather than trying to force the existing comic culture to just to you. He goes out and creates his own comic book company to do what he feels is not being done in the mainstream. So I applaud that. I think we all would applaud that. Okay, so in 2018, Besserat became the publisher of the first Ethiopian superheroes, Jember and Hawi, each with an eponymous comic book retelling episodes in his country's 3,000-year history with a twist. With 7 books in English and Amharic, achieving $128,000 in sales, E10 Comics hails itself as the home of African superheroes. I like this. I like that this guy is not only did he just create one, but he's it almost seems like he's already trying to establish his own universe. I like it. I love it. You know, instead of complaining about how how comics aren't diverse enough and we have to gender swap and race swap all these characters. No, he just went out and did what many of those in Comicsgate, many of us of independent thought have been saying for a while. If you don't like what's out there, create your own world. You know, create your own world. Make your own. If you don't like what's out there, make your own comics, and you should have some success with it. We've seen it here in the States, of course, with Arcaven and Webtoons and all that, and now this guy's doing it for Ethiopia. I applaud this guy for this. He's not just sitting around complaining or trying to force you know existing companies to change. He's actually creating his own outlet, which is applaudable. So there's some pictorial samples available at the article, and the guys raised an important point with regards to most USA superhero comics. Their whole approach to nationality and ethnicity, especially today, is superficial at worst and doesn't go beyond mere skin color to explore other nationalities overseas, let alone immigrants to the USA from those same places. That's the enormous double standard prevalent in political correctness SJWs in the USA go by, and exactly why there's such a dearth of creativity. Yeah, I would say so. I think we've been seeing that for quite a while now. But I applaud this guy Besseret for what he's doing. I hope if he's already got. Let's see. Well, let's see. Um, and from the looks of it looks like he's made quite a bit of money for himself. So congratulations to Debaby for producing what mainstream USA publishers won't. And we'll see how this continues to develop in the future. Though I hope he and other artists in Africa make sure to create more than just superheroes because of how overused the themes become for many years. I would hope so too. I mean, it might be interesting to see from his perspective, a slice of life comic or comedic comic, without going to the more let's just trash white people, let's just trash you know people, and it doesn't have to be a carbon copy of we're not asking for him to create Ethiopian Archie or an Ethiopian Casper. Okay, make your own characters like you do, like you did with these superhero ones. And this one went, man. I only had planned to do three because I thought that the bleeding, but man, I've already gone through all three of the. Hmm. So I guess we'll just be freestyling it for a while here because still have plenty of time to go here. Well, there's one other article that I saw here that caught my attention earlier. And whether or not this one takes a little longer, this one was actually published from Monday the 13th. It looks like. Let's see about this one right here. So a little bonus coverage because this was not necessarily announced. I did not announce this because I thought that the three would take up a huge chunk of time, and they didn't. And I think whoever just came in to like and share, hope you guys will. Hope we can get some more people in here. Anyways, as we now, and as I said, I'll remind everybody before I get into this. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything here that we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, let's continue on with this. Let's go on to this next article here from Bleeding Fool. So, former NFL star throws family under the bus while promoting new graphic novel. That sounds kind of interesting. Sounds kind of interesting. Let's see what we got here now. All right, article by Jameson Ashley, published March 13th, which was past Monday. Ah, no wonder. It's Colin Kaepernick. I have another name for him, but you know. Anyways, Colin Kaepernick is now getting into the comic book publishing. Wow, this guy just loves to run his mouth, doesn't he, folks? Colin Kaepernick, former NFL quarterback turned activist, had released a new book titled, quote, Colin Kaepernick, Change the Game, unquote, which he co-wrote with Evel Ewing, a professor and sociologist at the University of Chicago. The book, published in 2023, highlights Kaepernick's journey from his youth to his professional football career and beyond. It also delves into his activism and social justice efforts, particularly his protest against police brutality and racial injustice by kneeling during the national anthem. Kaepernick's protest during the 2016, so like 7 years ago now, NFL season sparked a national conversation on issues of racial equality and police violence. Since then, he has continued his activism, launching his own publishing company and supporting various social justice causes. Change the Game, unquote, is Kaepernick's third book, following his 2020 release, quote, Abolition for the People, the Movement for a Future Without Policing in Prisons, unquote, and a children's book, quote, I Color Myself Different, unquote, releases. Well, we all know the stupidity of getting rid of the police, of defunding the police. We all know that. Okay? This guy is just wanting pure anarchy. You know, but it's it's kind of funny. I just this article is the first I'd even heard of him creating his own publishing company, that he was publishing his own graphic novels or anything like that, or comics or whatever. This is my first time hearing about it. So I'm guessing those books did not sell real well if nobody had even heard about them. Kaepernick began his professional football career in 2011, so 12 years ago, when he was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, where he helped lead the 49ers to the Super Bowl in his first year as a starter. But his career came to a halt when he decided to kneel during the national anthem in protest against police brutality and racial injustice 2016. Since then, he has not played in the NFL, and he has become an activist and advocate for social justice issues. In 2017, Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL, accusing team owners of colluding to keep him out of the league due to his protest during the national anthem. They later settled, and he hasn't played since. While promoting the graphic novel, the former NFL quarterback made insulting statements during a recent podcast in which he criticized his parents and upbringing, citing racism as a central issue. So now so what? Now he's accusing his parents of racism? That isn't he part black? Isn't he part black? Doesn't sound, I don't know, something sounds screwy there to me. I don't know about any of you, but yeah, so let's see. Anybody? We do have some. Well, thank you for popping in. I hope you're enjoying the content thus far. We've come up upon an interesting article here about Colin Kaepernick publishing a book. I didn't, up until I saw this article, I did not even know he was even a publisher. apparently they said he'd already published 2 books already, and apparently as such, um, I guess they didn't sell all that well because I haven't heard of him. I don't think anybody else in our circle would have heard of him either. But anyways, let's continue with the article here. During the podcast, Kaepernick said that his parents, quote, were not educated on how to deal with or combat racism, unquote. And that his upbringing was, quote unquote, problematic as a result. He went on to describe a childhood where he was exposed to racism in the form of slurs, discrimination, and police brutality. Oh, okay. That's what it was. I kind of was wondering about that. So I just see the headline down here, I guess, for the video. Colin Kaepernick accuses his adoptive white parents, of being racist. You know how stupid that sounds? You realize? I mean, I don't know if any of you think this, but you kind of wonder if maybe Colin's got a screw loose in his head or something like that. This was a white couple who adopted a black kid who wanted to give him the best of the world, and now he's just totally trashing them. He's just totally trashing them. This would be like Willis and Arnold sitting there, and after they left when they're out on their own, if you guys know the reference I'm making, Different Strokes, this would be like Willis and Arnold Jackson. Now, granted, they did kind of cover it in the show a little bit, but not to the extreme that not to the same extreme that that Colin here is doing. In fact, they did it better in terms of getting the message out, and it ended up with of course the Drummonds going. Now I don't know if it meant that they went regularly, but started going more to a black church in Harlem. But you guys might remember that story. But yeah, this would be like Willis and Arnold sitting there, and with all that they had been given by Drummond, going back and saying, oh, by the way, he was also a racist. When in the show itself, of course, it showed he wasn't, and did deal with bigots. But anyways, getting back to this article here, because it's just totally. So some have pointed out that Kaepernick's parents, who are white, adopted him as a baby and raised him in a loving and supportive household. They have also noted that Kaepernick's parents were active in supporting his football career, and they have continued to support him throughout his activism. So they adopt a black baby. They raised him in their home, supported everything he did, and now he just totally knives them in the back, figuratively, of course. We don't mean literally here; we mean figuratively. He just knives them in the back. He just decides to take a big slice up their spine. All in the name of social justice, right? Let's trash white people. Let's continue to trash white people because, that's the thing to do, right? Kaepernick's decision to take a knee during the national anthem before football games in protest of police brutality and racial inequality sparked a national controversy, with many criticizing him for disrespecting the flag and the military. Others call his reverse racism towards his own adoptive parents embarrassing. Well, I think it should be embarrassing, but okay, there's you are. This most recent example of disrespect only further solidifies many people's poor opinion of him as that of a failed quarterback with a chip on his shoulder. Yeah, that does very much sound a lot like what it is. Um, that does sound much like what it is. Him just having a chip on his shoulder and not really. I mean, this whole thing of him going after his parents is kind of stupid, you know. And when you look at it, it's like, really, dude, you got such a. All right, so anyways, let me look. I got one more thing. Let's look at the see if there's any news stories here of interest. Yeah, nothing really here. I mean, I'm not as big. I was just seeing if there's any like other interesting. Let's see. I guess we can go back to pounding in the comics, see if there's been any new updates there. Because sometimes it happens after I've made my choices for the day. Sometimes they will actually have stuff come up, and I usually will push it back to tomorrow or to the next day. But as right now we kind of got through these a little bit quicker. And again, feel free to comment and or ask questions if anything here catches your attention that we're talking about. I'd love to get into some good conversations with you guys about some of this stuff. Anyways, let me see here. We're at like 42 minutes. So what can we do at the very least for the next 18 minutes? Let's see first off if there's anything here that might want to go over here. Go to the last article we went over, the legendary comic one. So let's see what else is. So let's see. As I saw the Japanese actress one, but I chose not to cover it because I just don't feel like getting into that mess. Right. So all right. So it looks like we're. So what shall we do then? What shall we do? Let's see. I checked RJ's site earlier, but there wasn't anything new there. So what can we talk about then? Well, I know if somebody is watching there, are there particular any particular thing you want to talk about, or is there any like cartoons or comics that come to your mind that maybe you want to bring up? Huh. Guess I could go over to CBR and see if there's anything there, but then again, there's the whole like formatting issue there. Um, let's see, maybe I will go. Kind of funny. The Busiek. Oh, yeah, I have to like shut off my ad blocker for this because these people are just ding dongs and won't let me. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so basically we have to like look at the comics first. right, so let's see. And I'll check over the March 8th. So they don't say 1 day ago or 2 days ago anymore. They just, let's see. Back for some of this, according to this, they haven't actually done any comic news in days. Looks like. All right. Now let's go TV news then. See what we can find about that. Do we have any animation news here? Let's see. Yeah, not a whole lot here. Hmm. Kind of funny with the stuff that we went over the last few days here. Um, I'm just looking up stuff here, trying to figure out what more to do here. Let's see. 3 days ago, 4 days ago, and not really anything here in the last. All right, well, I guess I'll check out anime then, see what that says. I guess they're not doing it. They're not doing like what they used to do before. That's why they don't have the. Alrighty then. So yeah. So basically, it does seem like it was a pretty slow day in the realm of in the realm of like some of that stuff. So let's see. So all right. So I can let me go. So as you guys know, every Friday night we do historical comic retrospect show where we look back and read over old basically, we're just very systematically going back through comics history and looking back and giving examples of what was available in the past. This week, of course, I'll have Terry from Mighty Geek Studios joining me as we will be looking at comics that went on sale in September 1939 from Centaur. We'll be, of course, reading from such books as Amazing Mystery Funnies, Amazing Man Comics, and Keen Detective Funnies. You know, some of the big heroes out that came out of Centaur. Of course, probably the big one was Amazing Man. Uh, let's see, the Clock originated in Centaur and then moved over to Quality. Became part of their universe. Um, one of the characters I might be talking about this Friday, like the three headliners from what I saw that we've been covering a little bit are the Mass Marvel and Keen Detective Funnies, of course, Amazing Man and Amazing Man Comics and Speed Centaur. Kind of that centaur who was raised in the forest and went to the city to become a hero. This week, of course, we're not going to be focusing on those. With the Speed Centaur case, the story's not available, but characters we will be looking at this week will include Phantom of the Fair, Dean Denton, scientific, as it were, be the scientific detective. Um, we'll actually be introducing you to Mini Midget as well, and Mighty Man, who this Mighty Man, as it were, was a Western hero. So look like the four features we'll be hitting up. Might touch a little, we might kind of acknowledge a little bit of King Comics #3, as that one was the final issue for that particular series. So, of course, Arrow, the first archery based superhero, was also a big hero for Centaur in the early days there. Let's see, he obviously predates like Green Arrow and Hawkeye, you know. Um, so let's see. So that's going to be this week, and then so to give you guys kind of an update on what's going on over the next few Fridays here for at least the our coverage on Fridays will be, of course, um, we're right now making our way through September 1939. We'll be going up through April 7th. And over the next few weeks, Terry will join me this Friday as we go over Centaur. Comics went on sale from Centaur Publications this Friday. Next Friday, the 24th, Timothy Olsen will be joining me as we will be looking at comics that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate, which, of course, some of the heroes there include Blue Beetle, the Flame, Green Mask, and Zanzibar. So we'll be looking over those characters. The following Friday, 31st, I'll have RJ will be back with me as we will be going over that on Friday. We'll be going over Lev Gleason. I'll be introducing you guys to Lev Gleason publications. Now, as RJ has reminded me a few times, of course, it was Lev Gleason publications that gave us the original Daredevil, not the Daredevil from Marvel Comics. This is another Daredevil altogether. That's what they were famous for. So we'll be looking at their company in a couple weeks, 2 weeks on this Friday. And then on the 7th, we'll be concluding our September 1939 coverage with, of course, the Metal from the Vomitorium as my co-host. We'll be, of course, going over books that went on sale from Quality Comics, Standard. I'll be introducing you guys to Standard Comics, and then also doing a little summary work from United Features publications. Be kind of acknowledging one of their single series books. Was it single series or is it? I think actually it might be Comics on Parade. We'll be again, don't have the actual book, but we'll kind of be taking more or less summary look at that. I'll be talking a little bit about on the 7th. We'll be talking about the beginnings of Standard Comics, which of course went through a number of names, including Better Books and Nador, or Nador, whatever, however you pronounce that word. And then we'll be reading, of course, from some selections from some of the Quality Comics, including Smash Comics and Feature Comics. And then on the 14th, that's when we start our coverage of October 1939, with, of course, starting off with DC as we always do. And that week, Rick Piper will be joining me. So over the next few weeks here. So Terry from Mighty Geek Studios this Friday, Timothy Olsen next Friday. Then on the 31st, RJ Carter will be back here, and then the Metal from the Vomitorium will be with me on the 7th, and then Rick Piper will be back here again on April 14th, and we will be, of course, going through between now and April 7th. We'll be going through comics that went on sale in September 1939, then starting our coverage of October of 1939 on April 14th. Now, my preliminary work on my preliminary check on it, in terms of looking into it, we'll probably be spending 10 weeks going over comics that went on sale in October. We're coming up, 7 weeks here. Now we'll be heading to 10. So, based on what I was able to find. So, more of that information will come up as we we get there. Let's see. For those of you who like to watch Toonami, their latest schedule is followed, I believe. Yeah, let me go look that up real quick. For those who still are watching Toonami, I mean, I'll even admit the only thing I watch on Toonami at this point is Naruto Shippuden. I'm independently watching One Piece. I know that they've got a couple of situations there where the current Toonami block in which they've got a full hour of a couple of shows and then just but the current schedule now as of March 18th has a full hour of My Hero Academia starting at midnight. Okay. March 8th. Okay, so they must have just made this announcement. So they got an hour of My Hero Academia, and then I guess they're bringing back Food Wars, the latest season, at 1 a.m. And then they have new episodes of One Piece at 1:30. Naruto Shippuden. I didn't even know this because in the times I've been checking the programming stuff, there was never made any announcements. It repeats the Primal on at 2:30. So let's see. So now I guess they're bringing back. Um, I guess they have decided to bring back. So according to this, let's see. Yeah, they're bringing. Okay, so let's look at this here. Let me just. So as announced on their Twitter page here, I'll share this real quick. Again, for those who are still watching Toonami like myself, which will be another program I'll probably be watching. Ready for some really tasty news? Food Wars is back on the menu. Season 5 premieres Saturday, March 18th at 1 a.m. Full lineup below. Now, of course, for those who have regular cable, it's going to, they say this Eastern time, and then, so it's 1 a.m. Eastern time, but, unless, if you have the East Coast speed, it'll be more like 10 o'clock. So here's the latest lineup change here. My Hero Academia, full hour from 12 to 12:30. 12 to 12:30, followed by Food Wars Season 5 on at 1 a.m. with One Piece on at 1:30, Naruto Shippuden at 2, and then 2:30 is Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal. So I think that was just announced. I think just got announced just recently here because let's see, when did this happen? This was announced. I guess this was posted March 6th, so last Monday, a week ago this Monday. So, anyways, that's interesting to see. So if you're a big Food Wars is a pretty good anime too. It's a show that focuses on culinary studies and stuff like that, but it's got some interesting drama. The underlying story is pretty good. So I would recommend you guys check it out at least. Yeah, so we're still kind of short on it now. Yeah, so what else? I guess I could get into the wrestling wrap up a bit here, a little early here. Give a little more details on that. So, anyways, some of the news coming out of the WWE today. So, one of the big things that came out on today's WrestleMania, I was watching that earlier. the Bella Twins contract with the WWE is about to expire, and they are not planning on re-signing with them. Now, with them ending their, leaving the WWE and all that, see, I think Brie Bella in particular was highly critical of how they were promoting the women at the Raw's 30. I think Brie was accusing the WWE of downplaying the contribution of the women in the WWE's in Raw's 30-year history, which she did not care for. Now, also with them leaving the WWE, they have decided to professionally revert back to their given birth names of Brie and Nikki Garcia. As indicating, of course, they're now about to turn 40. A lot of changes coming forth here for the Garcia twins, as we will be calling them now, Brie and Nikki Garcia. Now, as some of you may know, Brie Garcia, of course, is the wife of Bryan Danielson, who is currently currently signed to AEW. Now, why that's somewhat important, because first off, as reported recently, the Garcia twins made an appearance at AEW backstage, saying hi to some of the other people, some of the other former WWE wrestlers who are now wrestling for AEW. And there has also been some talk, now with the recent announcement of leaving the WWE, it may even be stronger talk that Brie and Nikki might be on their way to AEW. After their 30-day no-compete clause, goes through, then you might see them. There's been some talk that people have already pitched the idea of putting them with the Outcast faction of Saraya, Toni Storm, and Ruby Soho. That faction, the faction they're working in the women's division, where they have this NWO-esque group and again, the name they're giving themselves, Outcasts, being similar to outsiders, coming in and basically trying to revolutionize the women's division by going after the homegrown talent, as it were. And as I said, it's pretty plausible, considering, as I said, Brie is the wife of Bryan Danielson, who is, of course, signed with AEW. So, but we'll see if Twin Magic shows up and becomes a part of AEW or not. I guess time will tell soon enough. Speaking of WWE news, it was recently confirmed. So the two, as we've been talking about the last few days here, it has been confirmed that the first two entrants into the WWE Hall of Fame have been announced as Rey Mysterio Jr. and the Great Muta, Keiji Muto, will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's already confirmed that Rey is most likely going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame by his longtime friend Conan. Now, Muta, Great Muta, Keiji Muto, right now it looks like that, at least what they're hinting at, the person who will be inducting Muta into the WWE may be Ric Flair. Now, while Ric Flair and Muta do have some history, of course, part of a feud back in 1989, four-way feud in which you had Sting and Flair on one side and Muta and Terry Funk on the other. Of course, a lot of fans would have liked to seen Sting induct Muta. They've had more. Yes, Flair and Muta have had some history, but of course Sting and Muta have had even more history. In fact, Sting was part of Muta's retirement tour earlier this year, a couple months back. Wrestling alongside him, and of course Sting's protege Darby Allin over in New Japan at Wrestle Kingdom, and a few other shows over in Japan. Now it was also revealed that, I guess, in a past interview, that Flair has asked the WWE to be allowed to be the one to induct Muta. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there who again would like to see Sting induct Muta, and Sting is a WWE Hall of Famer. However, as there is some friction right now between AEW and WWE, it's unlikely that AEW, Tony Khan in particular, will actually let Sting go do that, even if he was asked. There's been a lot of tension between WWE and AEW. A lot of it over whether or not AEW is contacting WWE wrestlers who are still under contract, or vice versa. There seems to be some interference of contracts, as they're calling it, going on between the two companies. So with that, also now AEW's got some interesting news too, as they've got a couple of interesting things coming up. So starting, I believe, next week sometime, maybe this weekend, they're going to start doing house shows. So let me look that up real quick. They're gonna start a house show tour called House Rules. House Rules tour will be them doing a shirt. Now, up until this point, of course, AEW, the only times that they would wrestle, that they would wrestle would be on their two programs, Dynamite and Rampage, and of course on their YouTube shows, Dark and Dark Elevation. But it was recently announced. In fact, it's starting this Saturday. Looks like the 18th. This Saturday, the 18th, in Troy, Ohio, they will be starting their House Rules tour, which is from the Hobart Arena. This is where they're going to be doing a set of house shows. Now, for those of you who don't know what a house show is, that's a show that wrestling organizations do, that's not on television. In other words, in the old days of wrestling, while they would have a studio where they go and record, television programs, like that's the way like Championship Wrestling and All-Star Wrestling were back in the day, and sometimes they do that out on tour as well with like shows like Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. And for the WWE and for WCW, of course, with Mid Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Pro, Worldwide, that kind of thing. Well, AEW is going to be starting to do a house show tour, in which they won't be on television, but for those of you who live in Troy, Ohio, I believe tickets are on sale still for the Hobart Arena. If you want to go check out AEW Live, already signed for this Saturday's card. Dr. Britt Baker will be taking on Anna JAS of the Jericho Appreciation Society. And then the Blackpool Combat Club deal of Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley will be taking on the firm duo of Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. So, for those of you who are like my age, you guys might remember like the Great American Bash tour from back in the mid to late 80s, back in like 85, 86 there. This is going to be somewhat similar, but I think this is just going to be their segue into start doing more house shows to give more of their talent a chance to hone their skills, you know, as you know, as you know, as is the case when you're trying to get people involved and get people on TV, and when you have such a huge roster, they still need to be able to. And if you're not allowing them to go wrestle elsewhere, you're not using them on TV, then when they do use them, they're not ready. So to keep their skills, honed and in check, that's why these house shows are available, or valuable. Also, it was recently announced that debuting 2 weeks from today on TBS will be AEW All Access show, which basically will be a kind of a behind the scenes type show that AEW will do. You'll kind of get an idea of how things are run if you watch them. They've already shown clips. A lot of the clips they've shown seem to be reflective of some of the stuff that was going on around the time of All Out, and of course CM Punk's little tirade and all that. So yeah. Now, anyways, getting back into some of the stuff going on tonight. Tonight, of course, AEW having its Dynamite event, and I'll probably be going over what happened on Dynamite tomorrow. But as such, as has been previously announced, and I find it here. Okay. Tonight's card, of course, featured a three-way match for the AEW Trios World Title, which the current champs House of Black, who had just recently won it from the former champs at Revolution, they'll be defending it in the first ever three-way match for the title in AEW against former champs. So the House of Black, comprised of Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews, will be defending the AEW World Trios titles against the former champs, the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, and the Jericho Appreciation Society contingent of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia. Also, Orange Cassidy will be defending the newly dubbed International title against Jeff Jarrett. And Jade Cargill in a special open challenge match will be defending the TBS title against Nicole Matthews. And in another match, in a non-title, obviously not in a non-title match here, in a continuation there, Adam Page teams with Dark Order members Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. Stu Grayson making his return to AEW. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a one-night return or if he's coming back to the company full-time or not. But Stu Grayson will be back at least for one night here to take on the Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio Castagnoli, the current Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, John Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta, the current Ring of Honor Pure Champion. As this feud has been heating up, as it has seemed of late that AEW has been pushing the Blackpool Combat Club more towards the heel side of things. As they've been in some of their recent feuds with the likes of not just Dark Order but Top Flight, and of course, if you guys saw the series of matches between between like John Moxley and Adam Page. It does seem like at least those three members of the Blackpool Combat Club are being turned heel here. Now, where Bryan Danielson stands with all that, I don't know. He's been, of course, he just recently finished up a program with MJF over the AEW World title. So we'll see if that's going to continue or what else will be coming up from that. So with that, guys, coming up now on a quarter after now, so I think it's a good time to start winding things down a bit. I've been trying to get things back to closer to an hour and a half. We've been running a little long lately here. So with that, we'll go ahead. Let's see. Today is Wednesday, March the 15th, 2023. As I said, we'll probably go over the results of Dynamite tomorrow night as part of Wrestling Roundup tomorrow night. But with that, let's take a look back at this day in Niche history. So, anyways, 1963, 1998, and 2013. All right. All right. So, anyways, without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a look back at this day in Niche history. So first off, we're going to head back 60 years ago today. As on this date, 60 years ago today, Harvey Comics released quite a few titles on this date back in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. So on this date, 60 years ago today, Harvey Comics released 16 titles, 16 books on this, on this day, including the 5th issues of Richie Rich Millions, Spooky Spooktown, and Wendy Witch World. So on this date, 60 years ago today, Harvey Comics would release 16. But they were the only company that released on this specific day and time back in 1963. But they released 16 books, and among those books were, as I said, the 5th issue of Richie Rich Millions, Spooky Spooktown, and Wendy Witch World. So there you go with that one. Getting ready to move on to the next piece in each history. As what I'm going to say here is 1963 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As also on this date back in 1963, 60 years ago today, in a boxer versus wrestler bout in Phoenix, Arizona, boxer Archie Moore KO's wrestler Mike DiBiase, the father of Ted DiBiase, by the way, in the 3rd round of a boxer versus wrestler bout. Now, of course, the boxer versus wrestler bouts, many would consider the preludes to the mixed martial arts stuff we're seeing now. In fact, many people have directly credited the Ali Inoki match from 1976 with kind of the catalyst for what we know of today in terms of the mixed martial arts and the shoot fighting stuff we see today. Not just branch out into its own thing, but also its influences in professional wrestling. Of course, a lot of that also comes over from Japan as well. So on this date in 63 as well, in a boxer versus wrestler match in Phoenix, Arizona, boxer Archie Moore would knock out Mike DiBiase in the 3rd round of their match. match, bout, whatever, however you want to say it. So there we go with that one. Now moving ahead to 1998. 1998. On this date in 1998, on the Playhouse Disney block of Disney Channel, premiered the animated series PB and J Otter. So on this date, back in 1998, which was 25 years ago today, PB and J Otter would premiere on Disney Channel's Playhouse Disney block devoted towards the preschool age kids. So featuring, of course, Peanut Otter, Baby Butter Otter, and Jelly Otter. Featuring, of course, the voices of Adam Rose, Gina Marie Tortorici, and Janelle Slack Wilson. Those are the. But on this date, 25 years ago today, PB and J Otter would premiere on the Disney Channel on their Playhouse Disney School block. And finally, last but not least, on this date 10 years ago today, back in 2013, the Beness Corporation's anime produced movie Shimajiro to Fufu no Daiboken Sukue Narairo no Hana would premiere on this date back in 2013. This is part of the, I guess, the Shimajiro franchise. So on this date back in 2013, from Beness Corporation, Shimajiro to Fufu no Daiboken Sukue Nanairo no Hana premiered. It was the children's live action / anime film. Let's see. Translated, it was Shimajiro and Fufu's Great Adventure Save the Seven Colored Flower. That's the translation of the movie. So Shimajiro and Fufu's Great Adventure Save the Seven Colored Flower, known in Japan as Shimajiro to Fufu no Daiboken Sukue Nanairo no Hana. So that live action anime film premiered on this date 10 years ago today, back in 2013. Hey, Rick, you pretty much missed the show. You might have to go back and catch. We had a couple of the articles I went through. I even added another article and still didn't get up to an hour. Had to actually run some freestyle commentary. So, but anyways, I thank everybody for being here. I thank you guys for all the likes and the shares. I hope you guys did enjoy the content. For those of you who came late, you might want to go back and rewatch the show once it's done, because didn't catch what we talked about. Among the stuff we, of course, went over included the second season announcement of Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury, Legendary Comics, basically releasing a graphic novel that actually got it on Kickstarter, crowdfunding a graphic novel adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein featuring Bela Lugosi. Also, we had talked a little bit about African comic book creators, and something I didn't even know. Colin Kaepernick apparently got into comics, so I might want to go back and check some of that out after we're done here. Anyways, thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to be back here tomorrow night, and we'll be doing more niche news. Also, this Friday, as I said, I'll have Terry on with me as we will be going over Terry from Mighty Geek Studios. We will be going over comics that went on sale in September 1939 from I'm trying to think here, from Centaur Comics. I already went through all that. So hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.